Have any of you experienced the death of a close family member and possibly a friend? Have lost interest in daily activities or have somewhat of a depressed mood? Has some fears of worry or anxiety? Possibly have ADHD? If you'd said yes, I really thought about these questions, and you thought, that could be true for me, you could possibly have a mental illness. Approximately 1 in 5 adults in the United States experience a mental illness in a given year. Kids and teens ages between 13 and 18 could have a serious mental illness. 20% live with mental illness. 11% mood disorders, 10% behavior disorders, and 8% anxiety. 50% of all lifetime cases of mental illness begin by the age of 14.
In the past, uncommon behavior that deviated from the cultural norms and expectations of a specific culture and period has been seen as a mental illness. Back then, they thought there were 3 causes of mental illness. The first was the supernatural theories. Supernatural theories attribute mental illness to the possession by evil or demonic spirits, to pleasures of gods, eclipses, curses, and sin. The second was the stomogenic theories. Stomogenic theories identify disturbances in physical function resulting in either illness, genetic inheritance, or brain damage or imbalance. The last they thought was the psychogenic theories. These focused on traumatic or stressful experiences, maladaptive learned associations and cognitions, or distorted perceptions. Around 6,500 BC, drilling holes in the skull presumably were ways of treating physiological disorders. They would drill holes in the skull to treat head injuries, epilepsy, and were allowed to keep evil spirits trapped in the skull. Throughout the 1800s and through the 1900s, people with mental problems were said to be dangerous to the environment. They said if the church and these amulets couldn't help them, then no one can. Thus became the start of this stigma that everyone says a mental health is dangerous, violent, and people can't keep a job. Mental health stigma can be divided into 2 distinct types. Social stigma is characterized by the discriminating behavior directed towards individuals with mental health problems. This can result with the psychiatric label that they have been given. The second one is self-stigma. This is the internalizing by the mental health sufferer and their perceptions of discrimination perceived by the stigma. This significantly can affect their feelings of shame, leading to poor treatment outcomes. In relation to social stigma, studies have suggested that stigmatizing attitudes towards people with mental health problems are widespread and commonly held. In a survey of over 1,700 adults in the UK, they have found that most commonly held belief was that people with mental health problems were dangerous, especially those with schizophrenia, alcoholism, and drug independence. The second was that people believed that some mental health problems, such as eating disorders and substance abuse, were self-inflicted. Other respondents said that people with mental health problems were generally just hard to talk to. People tend to hold these negative beliefs regardless of their age, regardless of what knowledge they have of mental health problems, and regardless of whether they knew someone with a mental health problem. A large portion of the public considered that people with mental health problems, such as depression or schizophrenia, were unpredictable and dangerous, and they would be less likely to employ somebody with a mental health problem. The social stigma associated with mental health problems almost certainly has multiple causes.
Throughout history, people with mental health problems have been treated differently, exalted, and even brutalized. This treatment may become misguided differently from different views. People with mental health problems, some say, can be more violent and unpredictable, such as people without problems, or just somehow they're different. Stigma embraces both prejudicial attitudes and discriminating behavior towards individuals with mental health problems. The social effect on this include exhaustion, poor social support, poor subjectivity and quality of life, and lower self-esteem, as well as the effect of the quality of daily living. Stigma almost has a detrimental effect on treatment outcomes.
To bring awareness to society, just look at the statistics. Look at the number of school shootings. I don't know the specifics of the shooters, but it's my belief that there were some warning signs. And rather than reaching out to the authorities or school counselors or teachers or family members to say, hey, something's going on, nobody wants to get involved. So I think the answer is get involved. Get involved when it's someone else's child, when it's someone else's mom, when it's someone else's brother, someone else's sister, and help them.
Well, I see it a lot with what my patients go through on a day-to-day basis. Between mental health issues and substance abuse issues, what they experience.
So you may be asking, why? Why did I put myself in the video? I'm not an expert or anything. I don't have a PhD in medical or really anything. Still a kid in high school doing kid stuff, video games and all that. Doing what I wanted to do, really. Going to KCTC, doing all this stuff. But behind my smile is a hurting heart. Behind my laugh, I'm falling apart. Look closely at me, and you'll see the person I am isn't me. Why do I say this? Because it's true. I have been suffering from 2 mental illnesses when I was a kid. I still have them now. I suffer from chronic depression and anxiety. I've seen firsthand what the stigma does. It prevents people from coming out, because why come out when you think people are just gonna shun you, make you silent, put on a fake smile, put on a personality? I've done a pretty good job of that, haven't I?
How can we eliminate stigma? We already have a good knowledge of what mental health stigma is and how it affects sufferers. In both terms, the role in society and the route to recovery. It's not surprising then that the attention has most recently turned in developing ways that stigma and discrimination can be reduced. As I already described, people tend to hold these negative beliefs about mental health problems regardless of people's age, regardless of what knowledge they know of mental health problems, and regardless if they know somebody who has mental health problems. What we need to do is educate more people on the problem, find better ways of preventing it. We need to bring it to center stage and shine a light on it and help one another. That's why I think we should add a Be Nice program throughout schools of Grand Rapids. We should start there and see if people are finally getting noticed and getting the desperate help that they need. If this works, then we should move from county to county, then city to city, and then state to state. We can change the stigma for good and finally give everyone otherwise been shut away